Hello world, it's Birdo Prey 5 Qapla, and welcome to my first Dear Bop response video. Now, as most of you hopefully know by now, earlier this week I launched Dear Bop on birdoprey5.com. It is on my website. You can go there and you can put in questions to get free advice from me on any subject. I am a certified life expert by the Karoga Department of Expert Certifications, and no subject is off limits. No question is too big or too small. Whatever it is you need advice on, I'm here to offer it absolutely for free. I'm giving this back to the YouTube community that has rallied around to support me and just really makes my days mostly good days. It's nobody. Okay, so this is actually the first video where I'm dedicating it to Dear Bop. Now, I've answered some earlier Dear Bop questions. You could check out my videos from earlier this week. They'll give you some background. But let's just get into it. So, the first question in the queue says, Dear Bop, thousands of dogs have mysteriously died after hearing it was a good way to get them to stop barking. What kind of monster would tell people to do that? Why, bird? Why? Get an alpaca. Okay, now this is fake news, and they are referencing a previous Dear Bop where somebody was complaining about a loud dog in the neighborhood, and I suggested they buy the largest steak they could afford, preferably with a big thick bone in it. Cut the meat into small dog-sized bites, meaning bites that dogs can eat, not bites the size of dogs. There was a little confusion. And then just present the meat and the bone to the dog when they wanted the dog to be quiet. And, you know, they would get several minutes to possibly 10 or 20 minutes of quiet time, depending on the dog and the size of the steak. And that should be more than enough for them to deal with, you know, any issues they have to deal with where they need silence. I suspect if they had followed my advice correctly, I don't believe any dogs have died. In fact, I think, if anything, dogs have been quite happy. And they probably have a new friend in the neighborhood. So this is fake news. In fact, this is spam. We should probably just go ahead and delete this one. Okay, so next on our list is Dear Bop. Some maniac in a jet-propelled flying bed ran over my cat. I don't know what to do. Please help. Signed, Crying in Columbus, Ohio. Okay, well, first I want to warn everybody. This is anonymous, so, you know, don't give away too much info on your signature or whatever you choose to name yourself. Crying in Columbus, Ohio, granted, it could be anybody, but, you know, you don't want to get too. Now, as for the maniac in a jet-propelled flying bed running over your cat, I don't know what to do. Well, step one is pick up the cat. Okay, don't let the cat stay where it is. Unfortunately, I have some personal experience with this. In my, I don't know, late teens or early 20s, we had a cat that unfortunately passed away. It had gone outside. It was a cat that would come in and go out of the house as it wanted. And we hadn't seen the cat in a few days. A week went by. We started to get really nervous. It was an old cat, and it was the heart of summer. It was, you know, 95 plus degrees and humid outside for days and days at a time. And unfortunately, the cat was just gone. It had never been gone this long. One time, when it had been gone, it turned out we had accidentally locked it in the garage. So Mama Prey was hearing phantom meows, thinking that the cat being gone was getting to her head, but finally she realized, oh, the garage is directly below the living room, and opened the garage, and lo and behold, there was our cat, the cat Prey. But years later, unfortunately, as all mortal beings must do, cat Prey had, we assumed, passed. Anyway, a neighbor came to us and said, oh, I saw your cat. It's in your garden. And we were like, oh, we thought the cat had died. And she's like, no, it's dead. So I went to the garden, and the garden is a relative word. We were in Brooklyn. It was all connected, like almost like townhomes. It had maybe a 6 foot by 4 foot planted area that had its share of plants, weeds, and grass. And how we missed the cat being there for a week, I have no idea, because the cat was orange and kind of stood out from the green. But sure enough, there was the cat laying there, and unfortunately it did look dead. So I, being the eldest and only son, he said, okay, this is my job. I will take this cat and give it a dignified funeral, like we had done to our dog that had passed not all that long before. And I had to put her into a black bag. I put her in the back of my Jeep. I drove her to Bidawee out in Nassau County, Long Island, and we had her cremated. And that was my plan for the cat Prey as well. However, now I used a snow shovel to lift the cat Prey into the black bag, and as soon as the shovel hit, all hell broke loose. The cat had been dead a long time. Maggots everywhere. Orange fur flying through the air like dandelions, or whatever those things that dandelions become that you puff. It was a disaster, and the smell was the worst I've ever had to deal with. The sun was beating down. This was not a good situation. Unfortunately, the cat was in no condition to be cremated. The sun had pretty much done that for us, and it was bad. It was bad. I cleaned it up best I could, and unfortunately, the cat had a much less ceremonious demise. But hey, it was a cat that spent most of its time on the street, so I don't think it minded. But yeah, you do not want to leave the cat laying there too long. Cats, real hell to clean up. You'd be surprised how bad. So definitely pick up the cat before it starts to rot, and dispose of it in whatever way you and your family believe is best, and give it a few months, maybe a year, and then go ahead and look to get another cat. And life goes on. But sorry to hear about that. Moving on. Dear Bop, this is Stanley again. I took your advice and took the door on the right like you suggested. Suggested? Like you suggested. I passed the employee lounge and saw a maintenance room. I started to pass through, but then saw a cargo lift. Like you said, I did what I wanted instead of what my boss told me. I took the lift down, and now I'm even more lost and confused. Please help. Your friend, Stanley. Okay, so this relates back to my Monday this week, bed live stream, where Wesley Crusher purchased for me the game on Steam, The Stanley Parable, where you play where you play a guy named Stanley stuck in, I can only describe as a maze, and no matter what you do, you get these really weird things happening. So this is more, unfortunately, fake news. Obviously, this is not a real attempt at help. But Stanley, just if you were real, I would say keep listening to yourself. Listen, if it was your boss telling you what to do, then go ahead and listen to your boss. But truth be told, in the game, that wasn't a boss. That was just a narrator, of which I wasn't even quite sure the narrator was a real person. So, if you hear a narrator in your head telling you what to do not do those things. It's probably going to tell you to start killing people, or you think your dog is talking to you, Son of Sam type stuff. Don't do those things. However, if you're actually employed and you have a boss, and your boss tells you to hit the M key, you hit the M key. Okay, if you hear the narrator in your head say, go on the, choose the left door and take the cargo lift and don't do those things. You should sit down, call 911, tell them you've gone crazy, and they'll have people who come to your home, and they're experts, and they will deal with your craziness. They'll probably give you some medication, a short stay at a top-notch psychiatric facility, and in a month or two, you'll be back on the streets, addicted to some medications, but you'll be all set to rejoin society. So, even though that wasn't a real request for help, I hope it helps someone. Next. And, of course, the gardener is here. So that's going to... well, the microphone's not picking it up too much. But I apologize if it's bad audio quality. Dear Bop, I need your expert advice on matters of love and relationships. Okay, see, this is a good feel. There's this girl you see. She is beautiful, friendly, caring person who loves her family, and this may be the best part. She is decidedly progressive point of view on politics and social issues. I too lean left on such matters and feel a connection with her. There is only one problem. She doesn't like Star Trek fans. As a lifelong Trekkie, I find this development most distressing. I blame her conservative right-wing brother for this. He's a bit nutty in that way. He is also a Star Trek fan, go figure. But I can see how she might have grown up thinking all Star Trek fans are messed up politically and socially. So Bop, wise god emperor of Karoga. Okay, well that's good. How can I convince her that not all Star Trek fans are hopelessly conservative and unworthy of her consideration? Any advice you can offer would be greatly appreciated. Well, sincerely, Anonymous RP. Well, Anonymous RP, this strangely mirrors my own life, actually, as I have a sister who's left-leaning in most things. Not gun issues. She's totally pro-gun, but everything else she's left-leaning. And she does not particularly like Star Trek, and she doesn't really give Star Trek fans a fair shot, in my opinion, especially if they introduce themselves as Star Trek fans. However, she has been known to make exceptions on occasion. What I would suggest, and I assume that much like how original Star Trek, they talked about a theory of parallel or civilization development, and that's why so many planets or basically just Earths where something had changed or something was a little different, striking things that you probably, your person in this situation probably is very similar to my sister. So go ahead and just remind them, if you ever get a chance to speak to them, that, hey, one of your best friends growing up was indeed a Star Trek and Star Wars fan. And he even shared the same birthday as your brother. And you were good friends with that person. You still are today. So maybe you should realize that Star Trek and Star Wars actually have something to offer, and not dismiss it outright. Because certainly if that friend of yours who shares the same birthday as your brother wanted you to really watch a Star Wars or a Star Trek episode or a Star Wars movie, you'd probably have done it. I hope that helps, Anonymous RP. Next, Dear Bop, Greg here from your personal experience. Can you give any advice on if it's wrong of me to send nude selfies to my best friend's husband? He wants to keep it just between us. Okay. This is more fake advice stuff. Previously on Dear Bop, we had a message from Bob. And Bob said him and his husband Greg were trying to have a baby, and they kept, doing the deed, but nobody was getting pregnant, and they needed advice on how to get pregnant. So I assume it's the same Greg we're talking about here. Greg, no, it's not wrong of you to send nudes to your best friend's husband. Go ahead and do that. It's not a problem. You're consenting adults. It's all good. Plus, what does it really matter at this point? Okay, next one. Dear Bop, do you think Anti-Tracker secretly loves you since he is teasing you so much? 314. I don't think it's a secret at all, dear 314. It's I think it's pretty out in the open, and I'm flattered. So it's not a secret. He clearly loves me. It's okay. It's fine. He's not going to get too close to me. It happens. I've had lots of people profess their love to me in many, many ways. And I'm usually just flattered. It's fine. As long as it doesn't get to, the point that they're, killing animals or something, which I would never want anyone to do. It's all good. Okay, next. Dear Bop, I'm a wannabe YouTuber that won't really have time for it for about another 6 months. But I am very impatient, and I'm going to anyhow by recording video on my phone and editing it and uploading it on my ancient PC. Any good tips, not those tips, you pervert, for a good streaming mic when I build my new PC in 6 to 8 months? Signed, Not a Nation of Sci-Fi. Okay, well, that got a chuckle out of Mama Prey. Just so you know. And once again, the gardener is now here, even louder than he was before. Let me check if my mic is still holding up. Okay, actually, from what I'm seeing, it should be. So here's the deal. Not a Nation of Sci-Fi. Yes, a good microphone is probably the best thing you can invest in when live streaming. If you have a quiet room in your house. If you're going to be doing this in like an office or a bedroom that's away from the main area of your house, and there's not air conditioners running, and there's not fans in the house running, you're not going to hear your refrigerator, you don't have neighbors mowing the lawn or blowing, using leaf blowers at all times of the day and night, and you don't have a railroad track that runs behind your house. Jesus Christ, this guy's so loud. If you don't have a railroad track that runs behind your house, you can probably get away with a decent $40 or $50 microphone and be perfectly good with that. Just find one that looks okay. You probably want a USB one. I would strongly suggest a USB one rather than an analog microphone. But go ahead and just get one that's in around that $30 to $50 price range. Check the reviews. Now it's important on Amazon. You need to have something that's rated 4 stars or higher. 4 stars is the absolute minimum you ever want to see on Amazon. And you're like, well, 4 stars, that's kind of high. But it's bullcrap. And I will get into this in another video someday. I can't believe that they've chosen right now to be using the damn leaf blower outside my window. I don't know what they're blowing either. It's raining. It's raining. How can they be blowing leaves in the rain? Yeah, he's blowing leaves. It's the gardener. He's on the lawn blowing leaves look, I guess it stopped raining, but it's soaking wet outside regardless. God. Anyway, if you have a quiet place, now the microphone's picking it up. If you have a quiet place, yeah, you can make do with a decent microphone, like $30 to $50, and you'll be just fine. Also, you have to account for the noise your PC is going to make. If you have a desktop PC and you can put the desktop part, far away from the microphone or underneath in a drawer or cabinet, you'll probably be just fine. Unfortunately for me, I have a laptop, in fact, a gaming laptop, which is the fan is just inches away from my microphone. Plus, now there's 2 people using it. Plus, I live in a very loud area, and not only live, I have to stream in a very loud area. I'm in my living room. There's a window just several feet to my right, outside of which apparently 2 people are using leaf blowers. My hospital bed makes noise. Sassy makes lots of noise. My refrigerator is in the kitchen, which it's an open floor plan. So the kitchen is about 12 feet. The refrigerator is about 12 feet away. You can hear the refrigerator. I was there 3 people now with leaf blowers. I have an air filter that's maybe 6 feet away. Sometimes I'm running an oxygen concentrator that's a few feet away. Humidifier. There's all types of things in my home that make a rhythmic noise. And that can drive people crazy because there's going to be a constant hum under the audio of the microphone. So, more important than the microphone is if you're in a loud environment like me, and it might not be terrible, but to you, because I do have some of the software set up and running right now, but believe me, it's terrible for me. It's a lot worse than whatever you hear right now. What you can do is get this software called Reaper, and the website is reaper.fm. And you do get a free, you can use it for free for, I believe, a month or a week or a month. It's enough time to figure out if you need it, if it works for your needs. But Reaper does amazing amounts of stuff. I've only scratched the surface. Using it to clear up audio from a live microphone feed is but one of many, many things it can do. You can put in effects. You can put in echoes. You can do all types of things. You can make yourself sound like Doomcock. I don't know 100% sure how, but I only use it to get rid of the rhythmic noises from motors, engines, and fans in my live streams, and it helps tremendously. Now, it's not free. It is right now. It's $60 if you want to buy it. So this, I'd say, is more important than spending. If you have like $100 limit on what you can spend for your microphone, get a $40 microphone and then use the other $60 to buy Reaper. However, if you are in a very quiet place, if you have that privilege of being in a quiet place, and you can even perhaps insulate your walls with styrofoam or noise-canceling materials that Amazon sells or whatever, then you won't need Reaper. Reaper's only if you're going to be broadcasting from a loud location that was never meant to be doing live streaming from. If you have the budget for it, the microphone I use and many, many, YouTubers use are the Blue Yeti microphones. So if you Amazon search Blue Yeti, you'll get this basic microphone. Now this, the size is hard to tell, but this is a substantial microphone. It is over a foot tall. I'd say it weighs about 5 pounds, perhaps. It's decently heavy. It's big, and it takes a big presence on your desk. It's what you can see in my live streams. Now, I bought, and I often use, there's this for like 50 cents or $1. You can get a little foam filter to put over the top. That's not that important. But you've got tons of different colors you can choose. So go ahead, and if you've got it, if you can afford it, for $129.99, get the Blue Yeti microphone. That is the best microphone around, short of spending $400 or $500 or more. And so it's definitely got my recommendation. So I'd say quiet place, and with some money, get the Blue Yeti. Not quiet place, get a $30, $40 microphone and Reaper, and you'll be off to a very good start. And I hope the fact that the leaf blowing constantly going on has not made me sound like a total idiot giving microphone advice. And yeah, look at, okay, right now I've got to redo my microphone level. So give me a quick second, I'll be right back. And of course, they just shut it off. Okay, well, now it sounds better because they moved away from the window. So we're going to go on to the next one as they get closer again. Dear Bop, I'm surprised by how many people choose not to use headphones when listening to Frank Sinatra or watching Frank Sinatra YouTube videos in public places. I know, Sassy. Instead, they use the speaker option on their Bluetooth speakers for all to hear. Well, Ryan, not Johnson, they're doing that for your benefit. But let's go on. Okay, let me fix the microphone now. Wow. I travel frequently, and it's bad enough to suffer through the Dave Matthews Band my wife plays at home. Oh, I agree. And I also have to listen to this Sinatra noise from people without headphones when I'm out and about. Okay, well, here's the problem, Ryan, not Johnson. You seem to think that Frank Sinatra, the audio music sent from God himself to earth to let him know that he indeed loves us, is noise. Anyway, he goes on to say, I'm tempted to start competing with them with random videos and music by Freddie Mercury and Queen. But I know it's inappropriate to blast music in public. Is there a reasonable way to handle these folks? And why did Frank Sinatra have sexual relations with Freddie Mercury? You son of a bitch! Frank Sinatra had no sexual relations with Freddie Mercury, okay? Frank Sinatra was a total heterosexual, and he only had relations with women, and many, many women. No, he did not have sexual relations with Freddie Mercury. That is a dirty lie told by the anti-tracker, and you need to remove it from your head. Okay, Frank Sinatra was a musical genius and a gift to us from God. So, you know what? You should listen to Dave Matthews Band. Tell your wife that you love Dave Matthews Band, and she should play it all the time. And then, when you listen to Sinatra, when somebody is nice enough to share the gift of Sinatra with you in public, you'll appreciate it more. You son of a bitch. Don't ever ask me for advice again, Ryan Knott Johnson. Next. Dear Bop, how can we get more Sis Prey and less Birdo Prey? The channel sure lightens up more with her around. Just wondering, sincerely, fan of the sis. That's a good question. How could we get more Sis Prey? I'm not suggesting this, but how could you get more Sis Prey? I bet if people super chatted me when I was live streaming and specifically said, this is for Sister Prey, and I would have to call her after every live stream and say, hey, you got $2-3 in super chats today, by the way. Maybe it would make her more interested in coming on. Now, I don't think she needs to come on anymore. I think she came on enough, and now I have to deal with alpacas, something I never thought I'd have to deal with. But you want the advice? Honestly, I know that's a little bit of selfish advice, but hey, the money's not going to go to me. It's going to go to her. And how do you get people interested in doing something they don't want to do? You do it with money. I mean, that's just science, or physics, or economy, whatever it is. It's something very basic. From the beginning of time, there have been things people don't want to do, and they're like, geez, how do we get people to do these things we don't want to do? And the ancient Babylon kings, they said, hey, let's invent money. And they were like, what the hell is money? Like, it's going to be a thing that gets people to do the things that they don't want to do. And they said, genius. And so they invented gold. And they gave the gold to the people in exchange for doing the things they didn't want to do. And that started the world rotating. And that's what brought about the seasons. And it's what keeps time moving forward. So, it's not a hard answer. You want somebody to do something they don't want to do, the answer is money. It's the easiest answer. There's probably other ways. I mean, you could kidnap someone they cared about and hold them ransom, but then you've got to worry about, is the FBI going to find me? Are vigilantes going to find me? What's the long game here? Am I ever going to be able to get away with this? I mean, maybe you'll get Sis Prey on for 1 or 2 times, but once, you're going to be arrested or something, you're going to have to flee the country. You're not going to have YouTube access in Zimbabwe or wherever the hell you flee to. Have you really accomplished anything? So money gets people to the table. After that, perhaps, and I say this perhaps, I don't know, I don't know how well you are at this, but then once you've got them at the table with the money, then you use your wit and your charm to keep them. Then you're talking. Now, if you don't have the wit and charm to keep them, you can either keep paying the money, or you can move on and find someone else to be infatuated with. But there's your answer, and it doesn't just apply to Sis Prey, it applies to everything in life. And Mama Prey wants to chime in with an additional piece of advice. Oh, geez. Sis Prey did mention yesterday that she also likes kangaroos. So if you don't have money, but perhaps you have a kangaroo, that might be a way of getting her attention. That said, under no circumstances should anyone send me a kangaroo, because I will not give that to Sis Prey. I will mark it returned to sender, and it will get returned to whoever sent it. So do not send kangaroos. If you want to send super chats earmarked for Sis Prey, I'm not encouraging it, but I would tell her about them. And, give them to her at some point. But that's it. That's the only thing I could suggest. Some things are just not meant to be. And our final Dear Bop for today, it appears, unless one comes in while I'm reading this, is Dear Bop. It's a long one. It says, thank you. You were so helpful with my earlier problem. I have another one for you. As you know, I am a 50-something-year-old YouTuber, so my appearance is of the utmost importance. Although I went bald in my young teens, one night while in the army, me and a few guys snuck out of boot camp to the local brothels. The other guys all winded up with quote-unquote professionals, if you know what I mean. But as luck would have it, the woman I ended up with had no interest in sex, but was actually looking for test subjects, as she was a voodoo priestess in training. I didn't know this yet, so when she asked me if I preferred bald or hairy, I thought she was asking about something else. Of course I said hairy, and the next thing I know, my hair started growing and growing. Needless to say, I was very confused and very aroused. Still thinking she has a different profession, I moved in to kiss her, and she hit me with some kind of energy pulse reminiscent from Street Fighter 2. Oh, I know what you're talking about, when Ryu says, Hadouken! And that blue thing comes out. And that was the other guy, Ken. Ken could do it too. And then in Street Fighter 2 Ultimate Edition, I think Ken got a red fireball that would come out like at random 1 at 10 times. Hadouken! Anyway, so you got Hadoukened. When I woke up, my buddies were standing around me and she was gone. And my new hair had turned gray. Anyway, now I have tons and tons of hair, but much of it is gray. It also resists all attempts to dye or color. No doubt from the voodoo curse. I know you don't have a lot of hair, but you do say you can give advice on anything. So please, do you have a way of dyeing hair, even if some kind of voodoo hex has been placed on it? Thank you in advance again, Anonymous Trekker. Well, this is quite the pickle. And yes, Anonymous Trekker, I'm glad that you asked. And yes, I can help in any situation, even though I myself have very little hair and I keep it buzzed, so I have even less hair than I could grow. I can answer any question. So, if you got a voodoo hex that's turned your hair gray because you attempted to do something with a voodoo princess that you thought was indeed a prostitute and turned out not to be, but she was just looking for test subjects to perfect her skills. Here's the deal. It's well known, well documented in certain circles that most people are not privy to, that there is 2 ingredients required to remove a voodoo hex. One is the eyeball juice of a newt. Now, newts are hard to come by. Some pet shops may sell them, but even if you do, you don't want to have to try extracting the eyeball juice. They have a minute amount. Newts are not that big. And I'm not even sure eyeball juice is a real thing, to be quite honest. So let's ignore the first ingredient. The second ingredient you need is a black Sharpie marker. Now, just take the black Sharpie, and you've got to do this. It is critical. If you don't do this exactly as I described, it will not work. You must do 1 strand at a time, front and back of the strand of hair, up and down, with a black Sharpie marker. And you must do every single strand of hair on your head. If you do not do all the strands of hair, even if you get through all the gray, but you don't keep going and do the ones that aren't gray, if you miss even a single strand of hair, then the curse will not be broken. And in a couple of days, it'll all be gray again. But if you go through now, it's a lot, don't get me wrong. I know it's not easy, but you were the one who you know, tried to touch a voodoo priestess, so it's not my fault. I'm just telling you how it is. Every single strand of hair on your head, 2 passes with a black Sharpie marker. It's got to be Sharpie. Do not get some knockoff brand, you know, Amazon Basics Sharpie marker. No. It's got to be Sharpie brand, black permanent marker. And 1 back and forth. You have to get at least 98.2% of each strand of hair. Obviously, it's a little hard to get really close to the root. Do not get the Sharpie ink on your skin. Quite bad for you. But once you can do that, you'll be all set. And you can have beautiful dark hair again with no grays. No grays. You'll be all set. Now, if you've actually turned gray apart from the voodoo curse, if you're just naturally gray now, then of course the Sharpie will wear out as your hair grows out. But if you wouldn't have been gray, if not for the voodoo curse, then you'll have your natural dark hair color for as long as your body continues producing the melatonin or whatever that colors your hair. So you'll be all set, anonymous tracker. So thank you guys. If you think that Dear Bop can help you, go to birdoprey5.com. Go a few links down. You click on Dear Bop, and there'll be a form there where you just put in your question. You hit submit, and I will get it in a message like this. And on my next Dear Bop, which will be either in a day or 2, or at worst, well, I guess a day or 2 would be Friday. A day or 2, or my next bed live stream, we will answer your Dear Bop questions. If you've enjoyed this, please go ahead and like, subscribe, share it with your friends and family. Tell people about Ask Bop, even if they're not my YouTube audience. They don't have to be a YouTuber. I will help anyone. It's anonymous, and they only have to listen to any video. But if they want the answer, if they listen to my next video, they'll get the answer, the next Dear Bop video. So that's it. Hope you all enjoy, and I'm out. Take care. Qapla. Thank you all for watching my video. Please remember to comment, like, and subscribe. And don't forget to hit that bell icon. Without it, you won't get notifications of new videos. Check out birdofprey5.com, the new home of everything Bird of Prey 5 on the web. You can also check out my forum at juot.net. I'm also on social media, on Facebook, Twitter, and Gab. If you'd like to make a donation, check out paypal.me/birdofprey5 or on birdofprey5.com. Take care.